What's up, guys? I am Andrew Erickson, aka The Props Prophet, and today I'm coming at you with my favorite player props for NFL Week 9. Let's dive in. But before we dive into the player props, you want a chance to win a premium one-year subscription to Betting Pros, your place to start betting smarter and not harder. All you have to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below in this video, and that is it. I'm announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and to claim your prize. Now, let's get to the best player props for NFL Week 9. Starting off, of course, Jonathan Taylor over 65.5 rushing yards. Because the Panthers have faced the league's highest run rate, I want to back the overs on Jonathan Taylor's rushing and carries props this week. He had 11 carries in the first half last week for 94 yards, 7 for 82 in the first quarter alone, before the team just decided to stop feeding him the ball in the second quarter and the second half. He only had 1 carry in the entire second half, and yet he still played a season-high 61% snap share. This is telling me that they're still ramping up JT's workload and that he's going to get the bulk load of carries soon. Look, Shane Steichen also said post-game it was due to the team being down so much in the second half, which is why they didn't give the ball to Jonathan Taylor nearly as much as they did in the first half. Even though I like the Panthers in this game to win outright against the Colts, it's probably safe to say this game will probably be more back and forth than a blowout like it was last week for Indy. So that's going to keep Jonathan Taylor involved in the game. That means the yards and carries will continue to pile up. Smells like a ladder bet opportunity for me. Look, Taylor's career rushing yards is 86 yards per game. Last year in a down year, he averaged 78 rushing yards per game. The fact that this number is at so low at 65.5 rushing yards, am I crazy, guys? I don't know, but I think I'm ladder betting this one here. So, again, this is defense he is facing is 32nd in DVOA against the run. This is the league's worst run defense. 65.5 rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor? Come on. Child, please. Next up, Dak Prescott over 22.5 pass completions against the Eagles. So I think we can take advantage of a potentially pass-heavy game script for Dallas against Philly. No team faces a higher pass play rate than the Eagles this season at 72%. And Dallas dialed up a pass-heavy approach last week coming out of their bye week. In the first half alone versus the Rams, Dak Prescott attempted 21 passes, completed 17 for 225 passing yards. Philly's also allowing the league's most completions per game at 26.5. So I think it's a good spot for some same-game parlay action with Prescott's over on his completions, stacked with guys like CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson as his top 2 targets in the passing game. Next up, Alvin Kamara over 4.5 receptions. This is one of my stone cold lock of the week. I think you can compare it with a lot of different props because I just find it really hard to believe this is not one hitting. Because Bears are just a team that bleeds receptions to running backs. I know he came up short of this number last week with Alvin Kamara, but it's just too low for a guy that's so involved as a receiver. He has 23 catches the last 3 games. Derek Carr is a check down king. And the Bears, again, cannot stop running backs in the passing game. They rank 3rd in receptions, 3rd in targets, and 1st in receiving yards allowed to running backs this season. Alvin Kamara over 4.5 receptions. Demario Douglas over 37.5 receiving yards. So I added Demario Douglas to the card last week, I believe on Saturday, but he barely came. He came very close, but he fell short. Okay, but it wasn't really his fault. He still caught 5 balls for 25 yards. And entering last week's game, when he had played at least 40% of the snaps, he had totaled at least 4 catches and 40-plus receiving yards, averaging 6.5 targets per game. So the targets are there. Like, he saw 7 targets last week, so the targets were there for him. He got the receptions. Those were there as well. He got 5 balls. Just the yards were not there because he saw some behind the line of scrimmage. Got some negative yardage there, so he didn't hit his receiving prop. But I like this matchup here against the Commanders to hit the over at 37.5 receiving yards. Look, they rank 2nd in most fantasy points allowed to wide receivers, 1st in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers this season. So he's seeing all the opportunities. Kendrick Bourne is out, put on injured reserve with the ACL injury. So I like Demario Douglas a lot to go over his receiving yards prop at 37.5. Let's go Patriots. Not in the same game, Brian Robinson under 12.5 carries. I sound like a broken record, but the Brian Robinson props are just too good to pass up on. Took the under last week. It hit. Brian Robinson has been under 12.5 carries for 4 straight games. It's back at 12.5, and I think it's just going to be another solid spot to back the under here. The Commanders are a pass-first offense. I don't think that's going to change against the Patriots. The Patriots boast the #1 run defense in expected points added. Their pass defense ranks 27th. I think it's safe to say we can expect from the Commanders' offense on Sunday, they're going to throw the dang ball So under on Brian Robinson. I do want to do another in this game. Jahan Dotson over 3.5 receptions. Jahan Dotson has been someone that really disappointed out of the gates. I was really high on him in fantasy during the offseason. And I mean, the last couple of weeks, though, he's been heating up a little bit. When you look at what he's been able to do, fresh off back-to-back games with 5+ catches and 8+ targets, he's in a good spot here. Again, the Patriots have stifled number 1 wide receivers this year, but have allowed number 2 wide receivers to run wild. First in DVOA versus number 1s, but 29th in DVOA versus number 2 wide receivers, 6th in targets and yards allowed to number 2 wide receivers. So with Curtis Samuel out with a toe injury, I think that's kind of coincided with the surge of production we've seen from Jahan Dotson in the last 2 weeks. I think it continues here against the Patriots. Jahan Dotson over 3.5 receptions. Devonte Adams over 6.5 receptions. Bet the over props on Devonte Adams. It doesn't need to be this complicated because, good Lord, this man is going to get drowned in targets. He's going to get in the huddle and be like, Aiden O'Connell, if you don't throw me the ball, I'm going to punch you in the face. Not really, but look, there's a lot of command that he brings in that if you're a rookie quarterback, what are you going to do? You're going to throw it to the guy that the team is paying so much money, the team traded up to get. You have to get the ball to Devonte Adams. And this is what we saw happen last time. This isn't hyperbolic. This isn't hyperbolic. Like, he got targets from Aiden O'Connell in Aiden O'Connell's first start. Top target, 8 receptions for 75 yards on 13 targets. And that was with Adams also dealing with a shoulder injury back in week 4. So in that game as well, Adams owned a 50% first read target share. So half the time, it was like Aiden O'Connell drop back to throw it to Devonte Adams. He's going to catch at least 7 passes here. His receptions prop at 6.5. It's going over. So you can get this at plus money at DraftKings. Take the over. And I also love the odds of his first touchdown in the spot. Giants have been allowing first touchdowns basically every single game they've played. 7 of 8 games they played this season. And the Raiders, meanwhile, despite how dysfunctional they have been, they've actually scored the first touchdown in 6 of their 8 games played. So as I kind of grow more and more on the Vegas side here, rallying after they're firing their coach, Giants are playing on the road and just haven't really been a team to be afraid of this year. I think that Vegas strikes first here, and I would bet money. Literally, I'm going to bet money on Devonte Adams with the first touchdown. So he leads the NFL in red zone targets and has not scored since week 3. Plus 160 anytime touchdown. Plus 750 first touchdown score for Devonte Adams. Raheem Mostert over 11.5 carries. Had to get a Germany prop in here. So I think Kansas City is going to present some issues for Miami's offense with their top-tier defense. 5th overall in DVOA. 4th in pass defense DVOA. But 23rd in run defense DVOA. So how do you attack this Chiefs defense? It's through the ground game. So I think we see a heavy run game planned by the Dolphins to expose the Chiefs' run defense. Miami's dealing with a couple offensive line injuries. So I think for pass protection to kind of keep things okay for Tua, I think they try to establish the run here. I like the over on Raheem Mostert's 11.5 carries. Last week, even with Jeff Wilson back in the fold, Mostert carried the ball 13 times. The over hit last week on Javonte Williams, who we backed in this spot against the Chiefs, over 10.5 carries. He went way over that number. So I think Raheem Mostert, as the RB1 for the Dolphins, I think he can get over 11.5 carries over across the pond in Frankfurt, Germany. Looking forward to that matchup a lot. TJ Hockenson over 4.5 receptions. Look, this number is suppressed because of the quarterback change. Jaren Hall is going to be starting for the Minnesota Vikings with Kirk Cousins placed on injured reserve, but I'm going to buy the discount. Look, the number is still too low. Look, he goes over this number in his sleep. Look, over in 7-8 games this season. He only went under this number twice last year as a member of the Vikings, so this is pretty status quo for TJ Hockenson catching at least 5 balls in a game, and I would probably feel less good about it if the matchup wasn't perfect. The Atlanta Falcons are so bad against tight ends, 5th most catches allowed per game to tight ends, and Hockenson has an elite target share without Justin Jefferson, 23% over the last 4 weeks. I still think he can get over this number with short targets from Hall. 4 pass attempts last week from Hall. Again, a small sample size, but he targeted Hockenson on 2 of them. So half of the targets have already gone towards Hockenson that we've seen from Hall. So if that carries over into a full game of action, I think that we're going to get Hockenson to at least get 5 receptions here in this matchup. Alec Pierce under 2.5 receptions. Talked about this on the podcast this week, but I'm trusting the projections here with this one. Look, under on Alec Pierce's 2.5 reception yards prop. Look, he has an abysmal 11% target share over the last month. He runs behind Josh Downs. He runs behind Michael Pittman. He's doing a lot of cardio, and he's on a 3-game heater. He's been over 3 receptions in 3 straight games. Think he's due for a under. The Panthers are a defense that have faced the league's heaviest run rate. Again, that's why I like Jonathan Taylor a ton. And I think that's going to limit the total pass attempts for the Indianapolis Colts. Carolina doesn't give up a huge amount of passing plays in terms of like long downfield explosive plays, or they face a high average depth of target. So with Alec Pierce operating as that field stretcher in this offense, I think it's going to be tough for him to catch 3+ balls, from Gardner Minshew. So he leads all the Colts and wide receivers in average depth of target. I think he's going to fly under 2.5 receptions for Alec Pierce. And last but not least, anytime touchdown, first touchdown action, Odell Beckham Jr. Yes, folks, you heard it here first. OBJ is going to hit pay dirt in 2023 this week. He has 5 red zone targets on the year, but 0 touchdowns so far. He had 4 targets last week, including one in the end zone that was erased because of a pass interference call. Look, he is going to get involved here. Like, he was visibly upset last week, talking about his role. He wants to do more. So I think we're going to see a squeaky wheel kind of game coming for him here with targets in the end zone. We've seen him get targeted in the end zone at multiple times this season. So I think he's going to score this matchup. Lamar Jackson told reporters this week about Beckham, like, he's going to catch the ball, so they have to do their best to keep him away from the ball, hence, referring to the interference calls he keeps drawing. They're doing a good job of it right now, but he's going to get on the scoreboard. Again, this is his quarterback saying this. He's going to get on the scoreboard. I believe it's happening fast. It's going to come. It's going to happen. He is the quarterback of the team. So when they're in the red zone, again, against that tough Seattle run defense, I don't think they're going to be able to run the football. It's going to be a fade route to OBJ. He's going to do some fun dance, and we're all going to be dancing with him because we bet on him to score the first touchdown. I like the first touchdown in particular for OBJ. Looking at the Ravens this year, they've been money when it comes to scoring the first touchdown. 7 of 8 games played, they have scored the first touchdown in their game. And we look at the draft prop cheat sheet, Betting Pros NFL Anytime Touchdown Score Report. This prop is the 5th best value. OBJ, anytime touchdown, first touchdown score, lock it in. But that's going to tie a bow on my favorite player props for NFL Week 9. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe, share with all your friends. And again, make sure to follow me over on the Betting Pros app to check out all of my bets. You can tail them, you can fade them, you do what feels right. But at the end of the day, OBJ is going to be scoring a touchdown for us when it's all said and done. But before you go, lastly, if you want a chance to win a premium 1-year subscription to Betting Pros, your place to start betting smarter and not harder, all you have to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now, comment below on this video, and that is it. We're announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you can be alerted when new episodes are up and claim your prize. Thanks for watching, and good luck in Week 9.